Some viewers may find this disturbing. Viewer discretion is advised.
The game may have been a source of controversy, but it's not bad at all. Manhunt, released by Rockstar and the subject of mass controversy for several years due to its graphic kill sequences. Quite realistic kill sequences. Anyway, Manhunt follows the final moments of James Earl Cash as he is sentenced to death by lethal injection. Well, that was a short game. See you guys next time.
We got him now!
Whoops, did I say the end? I mean a new beginning. Help me. Anyway, Cash awakens in the chamber to find himself still among the living, as an unidentified voice quickly explains that he's been given this second chance in order to become the star of a new snuff film, directed by said voice, Lionel Starkweather. From then on, the game follows a specific formula of Starkweather dropping Cash in specially modified locations and having him slaughter dozens of gang members in increasingly gruesome manners with a variety of weapons. There are 4 types of weapons Cash can use throughout the levels. Green single-use weapons such as plastic bags will grant you 1 silent kill but are poor in combat. Blue weapons that make slightly loud kills while being somewhat useful in combat. Red weapons that make the loudest kills while also being the most damaging in combat. And yellow throwing weapons, which you can't kill or fight with, but by tossing them you can attract your enemy's attention and sneak up on them. Of course, these aren't your average gang members you're dealing with. Oh no, every level brings with them a new threat. First we have the Hoods. Your basic mooks act more like punch clock villains if anything. Although snuff film actors don't really come off as decent people in my eyes. Next we have the the Skins, redneck neo-Nazis that preach the holy scripture. So yeah, the KKK in hockey masks. Our third gang of hunters are the War Dogs, overly prepared survivalists who seek to hunt the most dangerous game, James Earl Cash himself. Our fourth and second to last gang are the Innocents, pedophiles. Moving on. Now we have the final group, the Smileys. Seriously messed up asylum patients that have overrun their asylum and are now after you. Oh yeah, they have guns too. How dandy. Now after making it through nearly a dozen stages of nothing but these maniacs, what then? Well, Starkweather believes you've outlived your usefulness and tries to off you.
What can I say? You are a good leading man. The audience will love you. Don't expect any royalty checks where you're going, though.
As one can imagine, it fails horribly, and ends up with Cash escaping the asylum, while Starkweather's right-hand man Ramirez gathers up the remains of the watchdogs and attempts to take out Cash. This also ends about as well as you'd expect. After putting Ramirez into early retirement, Cash meets up with a reporter who apparently has gathered enough dirt to bring Starkweather down for good, and asks Cash to help her get to her apartment and get the information out safely. Unfortunately, Starkweather doesn't like his actors going rogue, so he enlists help with his good old buddy, Police Chief Gary Schaefer, to track Cash down and kill him. Again. Did any of the officers question whether they were hunting a man that some of them probably saw die already? Whatever, it's the GTA universe. They probably see the same criminal come and go all the time. Either way, Cash gets a reporter friend to her apartment safely and escapes the police and SWAT teams through a local train yard, only to get caught by Starkweather's mercenaries, the Cerberus. The Cerberus members take Cash to Starkweather's estate with the intent to kill him, but they're quickly stopped by Pigsy, a large naked man with a chainsaw and pig mask going around the estate killing Cerberus members left and right. This gives Cash the opportunity he needs to run through the mansion and kill Starkweather off. On the way up, however, our pig mask freak Pigsy attempts to cut through your elevator and traps you in Starkweather's attic. This escalates to a mad game of cat and mouse as Pigsy has a chainsaw and you have to find a way to damage him without getting butchered yourself. So after stabbing him a few times and tricking him to fall down a steel grate to his death, you take his chainsaw and confront Wait a minute, gotta kill some more Cerberus guards. Now, back to killing Starkweather.
Cash, I made you!
And yeah, that's Manhunt. Story-wise, just kinda jerks you around to different locations in order to slaughter the scum of society little by little, all the while creeping through the shadows like a serial killer Sam Fisher. Unfortunately, the game takes a slight dip from stealth when the guns are introduced, and eventually that takes up the main role of disposing enemies. In no way does the gunplay work poorly. In fact, the guns work quite well. But when the game primarily tries to focus on stealth and then tries to combine loud weapons, then we have a problem. This is most evident in the final level, where you're back to stealth for the Pigsy fight, then when you're up against the Cerberus mercenaries it's a shootout, then back to stealth when killing Starkweather. The game feels like it's trying to be Grand Theft Auto and Splinter Cell, and it suffers because of it. On the bright side, the game controls excellently, so the gunplay never feels like a gimmick. On a side note, the main gameplay element, the shadow mechanic, can get downright comical with how blind the enemies are. You only need a minimal amount of shade in order for the enemies to be unable to detect you, and it's pretty hilarious to see dudes looking right at you and ignore you because you're in the small patch of shadows in a well-lit mall. Overall, it's enjoyable, even when the gunplay is introduced. The gameplay never really makes a massive genre shift, and still maintains a decent amount of stealth during the gunplay sections. A decent game, if a bit gruesome. I enjoyed the Manhunt experience, but it's probably not something I'd go back to, or even if I did, I'd probably stick with the early levels, since while the gun-oriented second half of the game doesn't horribly screw you over, it will irritate you at times with how often you'll die. Oh, and trust me, on some missions you'll die a lot. Manhunt's a decent game, gruesome and not for the faint of heart, but if you can stomach it, or if you're a dangerous sociopath, then have at it. I'm Su3Legacy, and if you'll excuse me, I need to get the hell out of here.